everyone, it's Rob Foglia and Jessica Klein with Foglia Properties at Keller Williams Realty here in Nashville, and we're coming to you live today to go over the real estate market because it's August. So, like usual, we've got our market stats that we want to go over and chat about. You ready to jump in and get started, Jessica?
Yeah, my favorite time of month. Where should we get started?
Well, let's start with the amount of homes for sale. I think that's been a general trend that we've been watching for a while now. And just the amount of homes for sale, and this is for our entire MLS. Let's actually get rid of the entire MLS and just do like Davidson County. So that's where Nashville County, because our entire MLS, they actually opened up to even parts that are out of state for some reason, which RealTrax is my favorite for that reason. There aren't too many people licensed in other states, but anyway, that's beside the point. Let's just talk a little bit about Davidson County's stats, because the amount of homes for sale really does dictate what the market's doing. Real estate is such a supply and demand driven industry, and the demand is there. I mean, there are people buying homes. We're still seeing multiple offers on properties, and the amount of supply is not keeping up with it. And this is just another piece of evidence as to why. You can see right here in July of 2021, 2,300 homes for sale in Davidson County. That's down over 53% compared to this time last year. July of 2020, almost 5,000 homes for sale. So you can see, I mean, less than half, which is ridiculous. And I mean, it's just continuing to go down, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously that's completely true. And you just hovered over last month, and what was that, 3,000 last month? Well, 3,200 really last month. And we're down to 2,300. So that really is quite a dramatic drop. And we can see that throughout here. I mean, there are a couple, like even in a normal year, you can see drops like that in a month. And it's tough to know exactly the cause of that. And half of the game is waiting and watching, right?
Well, I still say, and you're right, it's tough to know it's tough to know the cause of it. I still say a big reason for it is COVID. And it's not even so much the COVID disease right now, or the pandemic, or whatever you want to call it right now, as much as it's people's reactions. I mean, it started last year when we started to see really when you look at new listings, and you saw last year how it didn't spike up as much as it normally did at the beginning of the year. That led to less people making moves, and it's still been the case this year. As you can see, it's normally higher than it is this year. And when every single month after month, like for instance last month, the amount of new listings in Davidson County was down almost 31%, with about 1,458 to be exact, the amount of new listings that hit the market. That's down almost 31%, and then the month before that was almost 1,700 compared to 2,043 the year before. So that's down 30% as well. When that's continuing every single month, it's having a compound effect, which is what's causing this. Does that make sense? Every single month we're seeing 30% less, 30% less, 30% less. That's why we're looking at such low inventory. And that's why I routinely am telling people, I can't tell you how many times I've have somebody say over the last, say, 30 to 90 days, they've said, well, let's wait until the market changes. Let's wait until it becomes a buyer's market again, or it becomes a more balanced market. And guys, that's not happening until this changes and until more homes come on the market.
Well, and I think that absolutely is likely maybe 80% of what's going on. And then the other 20, I mean, I know that economists over the last 5 years or so have really been looking at how many new homes are being built and how far behind we've been on, since our last market shift, you could say, since 2006, 8. There just weren't enough homes being built, and now we have this huge demand for them, and then we have all this scarcity mindset for sellers from the pandemic, and it's just kind of this perfect storm. And like you said, it's probably not going to be something that's really quickly changed, and that we're just going to go straight back to a buyer market like we normally would.
Exactly. Even if the only way I see that happening, honestly, is if interest rates rise. And I don't mean rise from like 3% to 4%. I mean rise from like 3% to like 7% or 8%. And when I say overnight, and overnight not necessarily being one day to the next, but over a couple of months span, if it were to rise that abruptly, then sure, we might see some things, because then all of a sudden the 2,300 homes that are out there for sale in Davidson County, we have less buyers. Because yes, there's demand out there. There are buyers looking for homes, and we can't express this enough. to all the homeowners out there thinking about moving, or maybe even the investors that own multiple properties and you're thinking about cashing out. I mean, this is why the demand is there. Yes. However, it's the lack of supply, and the lack of supply, it helps you, but then we can help maximize the demand, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Let's look at one other stat here that we routinely look at, and that is months of supply. And just to give everyone a crash course, if you haven't heard this stat before, it does not mean that it's going to take a month and a half to sell a home in Davidson County. I get that question a lot. Basically, months of supply is a real estate statistic that says if no other homes were to ever hit the market in Davidson County in 1.5 months, according to July of 2021, that's when every home that's out there will be gone. Every home that's out there will be sold. To put this in historical perspective, 6 months is considered a balanced market. We haven't seen that in almost 10 years. August of 2012 was the last time we saw it. Above 6 months is a buyer's market, below is a seller's market. And then the further you stray from that 6 month line, that's how extreme of a market it is. And you can see this is an all-time low in terms of months of supply. That's what makes it an extreme seller's market.
Yeah, and like you said, this is an extreme. I mean, that we are dramatically below the historic low that we'd seen previously. So it really is like, it's not just agents, you know, when you're on Facebook and you're seeing people say it's an amazing market to sell, that's not just people making it up. I mean, these are actual statistics. It is a very unique time. And like you said, for people who have multiple properties, I mean, this is the best time you could think to ever sell an investment property that you have. You're never going to see returns like this again in the future.
Exactly. And we've looked at Rutherford County statistics in the past as well. I wanted to pull this up because I know in previous months we've seen 2.5 months, 2.2 months, 1.9 months, you know, and so we were seeing it already below 2 months last month in Rutherford, and it's dropped even more. It's at 1 month of supply in Rutherford County right now, which is insanely low. You can see that's down at 76% down from last year. This time last year, 4.2 months. So I mean, it's such a dramatic shift. That's why we're seeing multiple offers. Like, real estate agent friends, if you're seeing this live, I love you. And at the same time, getting an offer on a property or selling above asking price, that's par for the course right now. And I mean, you should be doing more than that. And that's what we're doing for our people. Let me show you one other thing, that's homes for sale. Since we're looking at the same county here, Rutherford County, you can see this is a drop of almost 69% with 793 homes for sale in Rutherford County. Again, compared to this time last year, that's 2,557 homes for sale. That's a strong seller's market. This does not mean it's a bad time to buy a home, by the way. Right. It just means that we've got to make sure that we have A, crystal clear clarity on what you're looking to buy, and then B, we've got the process in place. Like, we've gotten you pre-approved all the way, and that way we can jump on a home as soon as we see it. We can't wait around a week and then go and look at it whenever, you know, you've got a free hour or two. No, we've got to, if it hit the market today, we've got to find a time today to get out there. And that's all this is saying, basically.
And like we've talked about in previous videos, just having a little bit longer lead time before you really need to move if you're a buyer.
Yeah, exactly. I've talked with some buyers in the past. If this was 2 years ago, guys, I would have said 90 days roughly is when we start the process. So just say hypothetically you wanted to be in your new home by November 1st. Now's when we start. Now, if you want to be in your home by November 1st, yes, we can make it happen. It's going to likely be tight though, because we've got to find the right home. It's taking longer to find that right home. Again, not a bad thing. Reach out to us though to get this process started. What else should we check out here before we end the live video here, Jessica? What do you think?
Well, I think we saw all of the high points, really. I mean, it could be interesting just to pull up, you know, the list price to sale price ratio, just out of curiosity. But really, if you're interested in any of these statistics or any other information that's popping into your brain that you're thinking like, oh, I wonder, just reach out to us. I mean, this is like, you can see how quickly we can pull it up. It could be just a 5-minute phone call like, hey, how's the market in Dickson County or whatever it is. We're happy to pull that up for you and have a conversation and just get you any information that makes you comfortable or gives you what you need to make good decisions.
Absolutely. I can even share my screen with you guys, so you'd almost have a private version of this. Here's Davidson County and Rutherford County right next to each other, just so y'all can get an idea of what the average the average percent of original. Actually, let's put average percent of list price, just because I think it's a little clearer. Because sometimes an agent will overprice a home, or a seller will overprice a home, and it needs to be reduced. So we don't want to necessarily use original, but percent of list price. The average, you can see, I mean, in Davidson County last month, 102%, Rutherford County, 102.6%. Now, this is a general average for the entire county. If we were to dive into, say, price points that were, let's just go here, between 300 and 438 in Davidson, and in Rutherford, we'll do kind of that mid-range as well. I mean, you can see it's even a little higher in Rutherford County. I like just looking at all price ranges, makes it a little clearer and simpler. And yet, this is a general average, but you can see, I mean, what's our average for the year, Jessica? I think 105, a little higher than 105%.
For listings, we're at 105, and for buyers, we're at 97.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we're outperforming the market on both ends. So if you're a home buyer, don't get scared off by this, because guys, we can still make it happen for you. We can get you into a great property without you overpaying. It's another common question I hear from people. They say, I don't want to get in a multiple offer situation. Guys, we don't have to. It just might mean we might move on from a property instead of writing an offer on that property. However, that's okay. We've got to look at it, and every situation is going to be different, but we can make it happen for you, is what we're saying. And as a home seller, I heard a friend of mine actually told me this morning, a real estate agent friend. He said, jokingly, he said a 4-year-old could sell a home in today's market. And I would say that's probably about true. And yet I do think we're smarter than a 4-year-old to play that old game, right? And yet you can see that the average is the average agent selling a home for, let's just call it 102%. And yet there is a difference between working with a professional and working with the average, as we just demonstrated with our numbers. So we just want to share that with everybody as well, because there is a difference in who you hire. So don't get fooled into, well, it doesn't matter, every real estate agent does the same thing, as we don't. We all do different things. And when you work with a professional, you get professional level service.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I guess we'll end the same way as we normally do. How do people get in contact us if they need to talk to us?
Yeah, reach out to us. If you're getting this through email, respond to this email. We're happy to help you any way that we can. If you're seeing this on Facebook, comment, follow us. We'd love to help you out any way that we can. You can also PM us. If you're seeing this on Facebook, you'll see both of us tagged. Feel free to PM us. We're happy to help you any way that we can. Or you can call us, 615-591-5665. And so,
all right.
Hope everybody has a great rest of your day, and reach out if we can be of service.
Thanks, everyone.